Hi, Gemini. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for July of 2021. Well, if this is your sun sign and you missed your annual birthday reading this year, don't despair. It's not too late to get a lot out of an annual birthday reading to cover your solar return birthday chart, which talks about the themes of the upcoming year and also some transits too. And you'll find a link for that in the YouTube description below. Well, there are a lot of reasons to relax and enjoy this July. The sun is getting warmer if you're in the northern hemisphere, and Mercury retrograde is over. Woohoo! Julia will say more about that. Also, this month's moons, the new moon and the full moon, both involve all harmony, no stress, which means that the mood is going to be a lot smoother. And then thirdly, Juno may still be retrograde, and it still has us involved in a relationship retrospection period, but it's not involved with either moon, and therefore our relationship retrospection period can be a little bit more smooth than it was last month. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So last month in your horoscope, I talked a bit about how Juno retrograde in your seventh house means that you're engaged, presently for a 16-week period in a deep looking into and soul searching about your committed relationships, full stop, whether that's your spouse or a business partner, or if you're involved in some kind of work where you're in the position of a consultant, agent, or advocate or counselor for the people that you work with. And this might have you really wanting to, feeling itchy and wanting to grow and expand in those relationships and feeling a little trapped and limited by them. So you might even be letting go of some relationships or recommitting or redefining the commitment. That wouldn't be surprising at all. And if you want to know more about this, check out our video about it in the June 2021 news playlist. So last month's playlist, there's a video about Juno retrograde. So Julia, I think you've got news about Mercury, Venus, and Mars.
I do. Well, hey there, Gemini. A lot of emphasis on communication for you this month. Mercury starts the month in your first house of self. It was also here doing its retrograde cycle last month as well. If you want to hear more about what that may have felt like, you can check out our last month's video. But with Mercury now slowly moving fast, I mean, we're still a little bit in the shadow period of that retrograde cycle at the beginning of the month, but we come out of it pretty quickly. With Mercury moving fast in your first house of self, it means that you are a lot more articulate. You're able to sort of express yourself. You're really, you're not holding your thoughts inside, but, able to kind of use the right words and tact to kind of get them out. This is a wonderful transit if you need to make any type of intellectual good first impression on anybody. And then Mercury on July 11th moves into your second house of finances as well as possessions. Now, when Mercury is in this house, Mercury is also a planet that can represent buying and selling. You might be going through your possessions right now and being like, what do I want? What do I need to get rid of? Are the things that I can sell? And you could be spending a lot of time strategizing, thinking about how you can earn more income, like expanding a business or asking for a raise. Then Venus, the planet of art, beauty, and relationships, begins the month in your third house of communication, and she's going to be here for about the first 3 weeks. With Venus in this house, you will have a little extra luck, a little extra pleasure, because those are things that Venus represents in how you communicate with other people. This is a wonderful transit if you have to get some writing done. It's a wonderful transit if you need to use a little diplomacy, whether in your personal or professional life. The third house also represents short journeys, so this could be a good time to go on a little trip, and as well as our neighbors and siblings. So you could be getting along really well with those people too. And then on July 21st, Venus is going to move into your fourth house of family and home, where she'll be bringing a little luck, a little pleasure into your home life. If you're in a relationship, you'll probably enjoy your partner kind of spending more time at home and hanging out in the house together than kind of going out and painting the town red. And it's a wonderful transit for getting along really well with your family. Now, Mars, the planet of action and activity, basically spends the whole month in your third house of communication too. So remember, Venus is in here, so you're going to get a little bit of a push and pull full energy with all third house matters. Since that third house represents communication, you are feeling diplomatic and able to smooth things over because Venus is in there, but you also might be a little bit sharp at the same time too, because Mars in the third has a tendency to make people a little bit snappy, you know, using that planet of war in our communication. And since the third house can represent siblings and neighbors, those could be areas of life that kind of feel a little bit of your sharp tongue. But Mars is also where we put in a lot of drive. And like I said, this would be a great month for writing. If you have to do any schoolwork, if you're doing writing for your own website, because Mars might give you that sort of energy to get it done. At the very end of the month, it's going to move into your fourth house on the 29th. So it will be bringing that kind of feisty energy into all matters of home and family. But we're going to really cover that in our next video series. So stay tuned.
Yeah, that'll come up next month. So a couple of moons I want to tell you about. Also some activity of Chiron and the sun. First of these is that on July 9th, we have a new moon in Cancer, which falls in your second house. And this is really nice because the moon is in its own sign, where it can just be as emotional as it wants to and feel and deeply intuitive. And also I think of Cancer, you know, being the universal mother as pouring out the milk of human kindness. And so because this moon contains only harmony and no stress, it has harmonious connections to several other planets, most particularly very spiritual Neptune. We're calling this one random kindness. And in our video about it, we do suggest that you might want to actually do some random kindness, some acts of anonymous good, you know, where you just don't even take credit for a nice thing that you did to somebody, for somebody, not to somebody. And this particular situation has that moon being in your second house, which is the house of your money. It's also the house of self-stewardship, stewardship of our physical body, and how we eat too. So, you know, go ahead and bake those muffins and leave them outside your neighbor's door, and don't even claim responsibility for that. Could be really sweet stuff to do while the moon is there. So a little bit later, we have a couple days later on the 15th, you can see that Chiron, which is here in your 11th house, goes retrograde. And Chiron's the wounded healer, and can bring up old wounds to the surface for the purpose of healing them. Now, we've made a video about how Chiron transits feel and how to handle them. And I do recommend that you go and check that video out. You'll find it in our July news playlist. But I also want to let you know that the fact that it sits there in your 11th house means that it's your friendships really where the wounding is likely to come up and where the most powerful healing could be effected. So take your most warm and loving self to your friendships, and while being assertive and direct and honest, try to mend bonds. Okay, then a little bit later in the month, we have the sun changing signs, and that happens on the 22nd. Here you can see it's in Cancer season, and on the 22nd, it moves into Leo season, which is just that feeling of warmth and expansion and creativity and fun and play. And it happens in your third house. So what could be more fun for a Gemini than like exploring ideas, having conversations, and stimulating minds? So enjoy that during the season of Leo. Then the last thing I want to tell you about is that on July 23rd, like right after that, we have a full moon in Aquarius. So I actually have to pop the moon a little bit later to see it go into Aquarius, which is your 9th house. Full moons usually do have a sort of a relationship orientation to them. This particular one, featuring the sun in Leo, can pit your own ego against your community. However, with the moon in Aquarius, it's likely that the moon signifying nurture and Aquarius signifying community, that if you present your ego, however fragile it may be, to your friends, they may pour some of that wonderful kindness into you, and you may find yourself feeling supported, nurtured, and nourished, as well as reflected in those friendships. So that's a great thing to do under the full moon on July 23rd. And that's the good stuff we have for you this week, this month, Gemini. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please share our videos widely. We like to welcome new people to our community here at Pandora Astrology. And you can also find us on our website, where you can see the monthly forecast and check out your horoscope, find our services page with all the different kinds of readings that we do, and even take a class. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.